Hello. 1 2 1 2. Hello. I'm checking that it's working at the moment. Alright, it is working. It is a little bit too loud. Let me fix that. So it's. I don't know how that moved. There we go. Sorry for the disturbance at the start. It's been a while since I did something like this, to be honest. So, yeah. Okay, the sound in the background is still a bit annoying. Alright, it's working. Yay. Hello, 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 hello. I'm Emmer. I make games. You play games. It's nice to meet everybody. Yeah, I'm back. I can. Yeah, I last video I made was about a year ago, and that is because I was actually doing university and ran out of time to do any more videos. But I'm back now, and I have time to actually work on a game. But yeah, more on what this is and such. I'm back. What are we doing? Right? So apologies for the Canva template. I needed to use something, you know what I mean? But yeah. Um, so what this is, why you might not know what is going on, which is valid. I have been consistently active on TikTok. We don't talk about my uploading schedule, but I have. And on TikTok, you might know me from either of those two videos. One was about one of the enemies for this game, and the other one was for the about the hair of some of the characters, right? And yeah, God, so yeah. But yeah, so you might know me from either of those two. Funnily enough, those two are both for the concept arts for the same game. I have not been active on this channel for over a year. Oops. It's because I was too busy to make YouTube videos, pursuing higher education in this sphere. So now I'm more qualified to actually make this. And that'll be very, very good, very useful. You know what I mean? Um, this is an introduction to my channel and the game I will be working on, which is this one, for the next 3 months until uni holidays, end and such. Hmm. So this is a quick outline of that. It's hard to find my. So who am I? I'm Amor Studios Affair, right? I make games so that you can probably, hopefully, play those. I'm a technical artist, and this is a game art dedicated channel. Uh, so why the hell was I taking a hiatus? Originally, this was a year one concept art assignment. Actually, I did not expect anybody to like it. To be fair, uh, but since making that, and as you can probably see with some of the unrelated videos I have been posting on my TikTok, right? Uh, this I have been upscaling. I've been doing a lot of work. University left me no time to work on this, but now I'm more qualified than ever. Mm-mm-mm. This started off about actually the first concept of this thing was 2 years ago, and I thought I was gonna make it a 2D platformer in Unity. A bunch of stuff happened since then, and we'll discuss more about the current idea of this as well and what I'll be doing. Um, yeah. Oh, about the channel and upcoming content, because I'm not just gonna be working on my game, hopefully. So before we move on to the actual dev doc for this game, right? So as stated, I'm Ember Studios. I make educational content for game artists, since most game dev channels on YouTube and tutorials for such are made for game programmers, which as an artist can be very difficult to understand and follow. They often disregard the art part of the process quite a bit, while expecting you to already know programming or understand it to some degree. And even if you don't understand it, at least have the mind that works that way, and a lot of artists do not. So I want to make a dedicated channel to this kind of thing, and that's how it started out. That's how I'm going to keep going. Um, so yeah, so I try make videos and stream, which are for the streams are forever replayable on YouTube. I was streaming the game dev process for Forgotten Bonds, which is the name of this game. The demo for the next 2 to 3 months is what I'm going to be working on. Not the game itself, I'm going to be working on the first couple of levels for it, which in the demo you play backwards through and passes some of the story of what happened before the main game. But yeah, I'm going to try get that vertical slice slash demo done. I'm going to be doing a lot of work. But yeah, which is a long promised game I have not been able to work on. I remember mentioning that, yeah, I'd like to get this finished so that everybody can play it and hopefully enjoy it since, you know, people like the idea as it was and I'd like to explain more of it. For the upcoming long-term content though, keep in mind the game takes priority because this is a lot to ask of myself to finish the demo in that short of an amount of time, which is 2 to 3 months, right? So whenever I don't do that, I'll be working on these. Things like the pros and cons of the game design degrees that I'm currently doing, right? Technical art tutorials, source control for artists, which is another one that's coming up, all character designs, etc. I'm telling you this specifically so that you know I have not been sitting on my ass. I have been recording scripts and video ideas this entire time because I couldn't make them, but yeah, it was in the works. It's cooking. One of them is already released on YouTube so far. So yeah. Yeah. Again, I'll be doing like 9 to 10 hour shifts for 2.5 to 3 months straight. Game, just working on the game. 5 days per week is for, yeah. So if I have, when I have the time, but this is very much there, and you know it's coming. I wrote it down, right? I can be trusted, is what I'm getting at. But if you want any of those, like specifically, or need them sooner, just message or what's it called, comment below. There we go. I checked my comments, right? And I'll pop those down to my highest priority and work on those. So if any of those or similar ones strike something you want to know about, just comment below and I'll bump that up to highest priority ASAP finish on my priority list. But yeah, that's it. I keep losing my cursor. It's a bit hard sometimes with multiple screens. But yeah, about the game, finally, we got here. Took us forever, probably, maybe. God. The best way to describe this game is like Little Nightmares, but Metroidvania. Oh, yeah, sorry. The game is called Forgotten Bonds, by the way, just a gentle reminder. So the best way to describe this game is Little Nightmares, but a Metroidvania. For those who don't know what a Metroidvania is, it's basically like an open world game, in a way, but instead of being able to go everywhere all at once, you're expected to find new keys and abilities and tread backwards through locations, finding new ways to engage with them and new locations that way, right? Based on a game called Metroidvania back in the day, right? The game is based in a dystopian world where, in search of a cure for mortality, you know, death, different factions have destroyed the world around them and collapsed society from within. And you play as a kid traversing all of that, monsters included. The main game will focus on Beta, which is the name of the main character, who is functionally immortal and saves the world as a byproduct of looking for her long-lost and mostly forgotten even by some parents, hence the current name being Forgotten Bonds, right? But yeah, before we tread further, I think I should probably explain why their name is Beta. Originally, it was a placeholder name. It sort of is, but it's grown on me, to be honest. I don't think I'm going to change it to anything else because of this. That is because Beta is a successful experiment of this kind of thing, right? They're looking for mortality. Beta is functionally immortal. They don't remember their name. They remember what they were. I know that the first prototype of games is usually called Alpha, but I feel like if I were to switch the name from Beta to Alpha, it would summon a crown of brain rot, and I don't know how to. It brings fear into my soul. Also, the name Beta, as opposed to something that sounds more like a name, is also very good, I find, because it makes them that much more alienated from their like other peers that are more less experimented on and remember their past, you know? Because a lot of this is this kid looking for their parents despite the fact that they don't quite feel like they, you know, they're not immortal. This kind of dehumanization that follows along with it, in a way. and they learn to find that humanity, of course, but still. Moving on. Area design. Finally. This is what I'm going to be working on the most for the first couple of weeks, I believe. Again, this is going to be a Metroidvania-like progression. I tried to make a flowchart. Issue is, originally, I have been recording a lot of stuff for this game, right? I've been thinking about this for 2.5 years. You can see just how much I was recording, and yeah, you can see it's a lot. It's, yeah. I know the down mechanics, lore, design elements for each, but the basic gist you need to know is it's a Metroidvania, or at least the actual game will be, not the demo, sorry, that is linear, because it's a demo, you know. The less work I do, the more polished it can be, and the better guarantee you have that you will be able to play it. Also have more time working on the music, but yeah. The basic gist of how they work, because I'm not expecting you to read any of what's on the screen at the moment, is that the science hospital will connect to the sewer village, which connects to the factory district, which is like a hub that connects to the church and the Queen's Gardens. And of course they connect amongst themselves too, but that's A, too much to explain, as stated, and B, late game development content that is prone to alteration later anyway. Right now we're working on the demo specifically, right? No use pondering on such things. Key mechanic. I know you thought I would have forgotten about this. You saw it. But yeah, the main mechanic is the stress gouge. Instead of health, there is a stress indicator the player must interact with side objects to de-stress, similar to the game Stray, where you play as a cat. That one, right? When Beta's stress indicator is high, Beta can dash roll using the dash button and runs faster by default. However, they also become clumsy, so falls off the edges easier, breaks stuff easier, etc., etc. As they begin to care less about their safety and undergo higher levels of stress, right? If they are unharmed for a certain duration, the stress indicator goes back down to 50%, as they're now too emotionally drained to shut down any longer, and they're now capable of functioning normally again. So, no, you cannot dash endlessly, hypothetically. Again, playtesting. But yeah. In the demo, however, there is a different protagonist. Demo is a prelude to the actual story. And in the demo, when the stress indicator is full, the player character experiences a shutdown. The character cannot move for a few seconds. There is audio distortion, video distortion in the way of turning all environment around them monochrome, so only they and the creature, if there is any creature are in color. Again, if you are unharmed for duration, you can walk, right? That is because Beta has a flight response, and the main character of the demo has a flight shutdown response, whichever that one is. Stun, you know. Mm. Mm. So yeah, basically a stress gouge is with you to stay, but that does not mean it will get in the way even in the demo unless if you, excuse my language, royally fuck up. It's mostly there for immersion at the end of the day. This is thematically appropriate. You know? I personally call Forgotten Bonds a narrative-focused game because of this. You are playing as a kid in a distress situation, which is why the stress gouge is there, and mostly this kind of fight, flight, freeze response is there to help you, I guess, it's called, not get in character, but sympathize more with the character, right? The mechanic reflects what they're experiencing, right? Yeah. All the mechanics work together to further the narrative and player immersion experience, which this is. In terms of creating mechanics, this doesn't really have anything to offer that is out of the box in any way, which saves me the pain on coding and playtesting such things. Again, I'm mostly a game artist. Programming is something I'm going to spend as little time as I can while still doing my fair share, right? This way I can focus on things that I know will be great, and I can reuse what's already been done before and has been proven to work. If I manage to finish the demo early, though, through some miracle, I will put different routes that you can play that varies the way the stress gauge works, depending on which kid you play as. It won't change the ending or much of the progression, but lore-wise, it would allow you, the player, to grasp full situation of the prologue from different perspectives. So that's what I meant by fight, flight, freeze, fawn. If I somehow finish the demo early, you'll be able to go through those kinds of things. Might as well use the most of the stress gauge while we can. On to the next explanations. Yeah, there's obviously going to be other mechanics, the base line that they have. The game will have standard movement mechanics and jumping in addition to climbing, hiding, tripping, rope jumps, and other Metroidvania classics that will be introduced later throughout the main game and will not be covered in detail within the demo. Again, demo's going through the first two locations. It will not cover, advanced techniques, but it will cover those kind of things. They're still included. I hope you know this. But yeah. Finally, we're moving on to the most anticipated part, the lore. Yippee! But yeah, as stated, this is a dystopian world. Everyone wants immortality, and well, everyone powerful or greedy for money. Uh, the main game follows beta, which, as we have discussed, is the only successful experiment so far that has escaped the facility. The virtual slice of the demo of the game, or virtual slice and demo, are basically the same thing. Those that don't know, vertical slice is the small version of a game that you pitch to a publisher or for people to play before you start working on the actual game. So the publisher can understand what the game is, how it works, why this would be so cool, and play test it. And after that, they'll give you money because they know you're capable of this. Again, I'm not going to be working with a publisher here, as far as I can see, but it is still important to me to finish this kind of thing. It's equally useful for you as a game developer. You should definitely finish the demo first. Other than that, aims to self-publish and such. But yeah, that is tomorrow me problem, honestly. I have gone through this before. I have experience, unfortunately. But yeah, the more you know, right? Any questions, again, type them out. It's cool. But yeah, the demo follows the prologue of the game beforehand. So you follow these kids who, in the game of hide and seek, get down the wrong pipe and end up at the science facility. And through those actions, they inevitably wake up Beta from their slumber, and that's how the game will start. But yeah. I won't bother you with the minor details further yet, so here's the overall gist. But yeah, next is onto the, finally, locations and their lore. It's called. I keep talking about the science hospital. What is this? So, don't mind the text. Oh my lord. Regardless. I have worked on some concept arts before. I will be working on more concept arts as I'm going through this. But Science Hospital is just that. It is a hospital and experimenting on humans facility. Because, yes, it is the healthcare system of this world, and they've been paid a pretty penny for this kind of thing. And that is the first area you're at. It's where Beta wakes up, and it's also the last area of the demo. Demo goes through 2 areas out of 5 at the moment. And yeah. Further, more on that in the future. What is it? I could have sworn I wrote that down. Oh well. Sewer Village. Yippee. I have done quite a bit of concept art for this. I will do quite a bit more for reasons as follows. The Sewer Village is the one outpost, so people that have escaped from this society, so to speak, into the sewers, now build themselves a home there. So they use natural medicines there, they build their houses in the sewer pipes, and overall it's the safest place you could possibly be there. This is the only place with children in this entire game, because people die a little too much everywhere else. But yeah, and that's where you start the game, as one of the sewer children, as mentioned earlier. Yippee, it's Factory district. I have honestly no idea. I thought I wrote stuff down in the previous slides. I'm so sorry, I'm unprepared. I was prepared, to be fair. It's just all on that mind map. Alas. So this is where the non-devout or physically capable working adults go, right? The what's it called? They go selling their lives in time and frankly poor conditions. Working either working in steampunk factories operating heavy machinery or directly for nobles. So that's where all the functioning adults go. They don't get paid very much. They work in terrible conditions and they die. But they earn some money for their families back home. This area onward will not be featured in the game demo, as mentioned earlier. And above all, we'll focus the most on side quests over here, as far as lore is concerned, for obvious reasons, but I won't spoil too much, I suppose. The bodies of the dead workers from here are sent off to the science labs as well for experiments. It's like a hub area as far as gameplay is concerned. Also, the least worked through at the moment area in the game right now, as you can see because of this. Because of the fact that it focuses on side quests rather than main quests, and is a hub area, so you're gonna be going back and forth there a lot. It's not nearly as key to the plot as it could be. The church. This is the area that most of you will be the most familiar with from TikTok, to be honest. In the wake of the plague riddling this town very recently, combined with everything else, desperate and hopeless people filled the church in search of a face and shelter. Those who couldn't work or were scared of getting sick, etc. So those who could work would be working in terrible conditions in the factory district. And those who couldn't would end up over here as well, seeking shelter and such. The church promised them that their faith will keep them safe. Yeah. Those are, however, just promises. The church is also corrupt and working for the king, and the bishop's personal interests as well, as they're trying to harvest faith in order to prolong their lifespans. Hence, enemies will take the crossmen over here, right? So everybody's trying to achieve the same goal through different ways, and all of them are kind of bad. Yeah. The science hospital is experimenting on people. The church is trying to harvest people's faith, right? What's it called? Because in tough times, even the most devout can. Why the crossmen, right? How are they harvesting it? In tough times, even the most devout can sometimes lose faith, but it is adversity that also breeds it. Long story short, all the monsters in this location are a similar variation of what they did to the crossmen, which is cut off the feet so he may not stray from the righteous boss, amputate his hands so he will not get distracted from his face, and attach a cross to his head so that he may always be stuck in a reverent position of looking up at the heavens. On his knees, what is left of his hands clasped, looking up, praying. And similar versions of that are done. So that's how they're harvesting it. Whenever somebody loses phase or questions it, that's sort of what happens, right? But yeah, people seem to like this design, I suppose. I'll have more of it. There's some side quests I have planned, but that's another story. This location is also where the beta would learn their rope jump, which uses those incense dispensers you see used in Catholic settings, which spray either gas or a certain liquid similar to holy water, which would damage or slow down enemies, etc. Again, still working out the minor details, but they hardly matter since this is not in the vertical slicer demo included. Not really, anyway. Still taking suggestions though, so type those out if you have any. I'll always read the comments. It is here that we find Beta's mother's corpse, by the way. It won't be told directly to the player, more so show and tell. Show not tell. And on this woman's corpse, we find her mattered diary, which speaks of a child that she brought to the science hospital and how she hopes they find a cure, while she herself prays in the shelter in the church. The Queen's Gardens, the last area. The Queen's Gardens, and subsequently the King's Chambers, are located above the city factory district. As the name suggests, the gardens originally belonged to the Queen of this land, who has been absent from the throne for several decades. It is deceptively beautiful place. Ample flora here only outlines the privilege of the upper class in the wake of the dirty and polluted city below. The king has been watching the whole city suffer because he wanted immortality, while doing none of the dirty work. Why secret? Well, I had a few ideas, only a few of which I'm happy with as of now. The king is Beta's actual father, which will be a complex realization and choice at the end of the game, considering Beta's goal was to find at least one of her parents, and then like her mother, he is alive. But alas, doing that, it is his doing that is the cause of the suffering in the world, and it is decrepit and rotten because of it. Why he wanted immortality is a much better question now. Currently, Elite series that his wife or daughter were sick with a terminal illness and what's it called? My apologies. And before Beta and Mother had, dipped from the castle, her, while not improbably considering the Beta's mother did give her, well, it's not improbable considering Beta's mother did give her to the science hospital for that reason, uh, being her contracting an illness. I think it may be a little unoriginal and uncreative. It works, and it is what I'm running with at the moment, anyway. But it is hardly set in stone. Honestly, needs some more advice if anyone has a mildly better idea. But yeah, it does work. It does work really well at the moment. But it is very late game content, so at least that much I can still slightly adjust as of now. Especially considering I'm working on the demo, which is not even the main story, right? Yeah. Finally, moving on to the characters. So, as mentioned earlier, the main character is Beta. You can see a drawing attached to here. They're an immortal orphan, the first Beta successful experiment of the science hospital, hidden under the rug and forgotten when the game starts. They're looking for their parents throughout the game. They're gentlest protagonist, like Link. I know I've referred to them as she, her, and him in the past. They use all of them. They're similar to Link again. Whatever the player's gender aligns with, right? They wear the what's it called hospital nightgown, and overall, yeah. Mm, um, in the demo, however, you do play as a different characters, as I mentioned earlier. Lynn is the one that you play specifically, unless I have more time to add in more routes. Again, miracles, hopefully, because the main game will have alternative endings, and it would be nice to show the fact by programming some routes for the children as well. Let's get the Lynn done first. Lynn is that tiny character with the big bubble braids over there. She's one of the children of the sewers. There's four of them. Uh, she is the caring one despite not being the oldest, and she's the default protagonist of the game. The sewer children are a small generation of survivors, so there are a few survivors and adults, and they've had kids, and those kids have grown up in the sewers. There's still plant life everywhere, but yeah, life is not good in this entire setting. Let's be honest. But it's the safest they can be. And those four children that we follow, they're ages 6 to 14. Most of them are unnamed as of yet. Lynn is more of a place where life has like suited her, to be honest. Um, yeah. And, that's cool. Yippee. So I've been talking about like things that I do if I had time, right? Expansions. If I have the time, I want to add this to the game real bad. So again, alternative endings depending on your playstyle. For Beta, things like originally I was thinking of doing it just a general peaceful versus mixed versus homicidal routes, right? But I do think that I could also consider more routes depending on your dialogue or just general action trees. They would also make a lot of sense for the game. But either way, three alternative endings, one of which Beta escapes from this world, finally, free from all this torment and such, despite. And that was ending for the genocide route, by the way. Just putting it out there. The mixed, what's it called? The peaceful route has you staying because of all the bonds that you have formed with everybody. and helping rebuild society after you've saved the world here. And the mixed ending will have you turn into an abomination. Mm. A theater location is also something I want to add. It was originally in the game progression tree that I had. It's not terribly, as far as things go, it's not wasn't the most terribly necessary one, but I'd like to add an expansion of that. Like, this is post-game content very much. It was originally included in the lore, or something similar to it anyway, but in hindsight I decided to cut it from the main line as it wasn't lore necessary at any point. So like, post-publishing content like DLC, this is what this is. Um, mm, mm, mm. Yeah, it was very much included in the lore originally, but if I want to finish the entire game, the less locations I have to work with, the better. And if I can work on something after publishing it, it would be, preferred. So this is one of those things. As far as the demo goes, slightly alternative routes depending on which kid you play, as mentioned earlier. Um, if I have time left over to code this, it would be great. Yeah. Also, as far as the main game goes, outfit changes for beta. Again, if I have time to model them, and most likely outside of that one that appears in mid-game, the rest would go against the post-publishing content. It's not a key part of the game. Maybe similar to how it's done in Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion, where I don't know if you guys are familiar, it's a great game. In Turnip Commits Tax Evasion, there are a number of hats that you can get, and those cats were just coming out as the game was progressing after its what's called release, just like every year I think, every couple months. I'm not sure for events and such, perhaps. So as I'm working on them, I can just add them to the game, and then the player can switch them on and off. Can you tell they got inspired by into game dev by Alice Madness Returns? Genuinely, it's such a good game. So if I had the time to model, I would love to. It would be great. I think more games should do it.